Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. I'm going to be doing this October 26th at 2 p.m. in Lower Manhattan. There's our friend Jose Vega. And other powerful activists around the country are going to join Jose and Diane Sare to build a peace chorus against the ghouls of war. Secure your seat on October 26th at VegasSarePeaceFund.org. VegasSarePeaceFund.org. I'll see you there. I'll be there. Now joining us is Diane Sare. She's an independent candidate for United States Senate from New York, and she's challenging incumbent Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand. In 2012 and 2014, she ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in New Jersey's 5th Congressional District in the Democratic primary, calling for the impeachment of then-President Barack Obama. She also challenged Chuck Schumer for the New York Senate seat in 2022. Welcome back to the show, Diane Sare. Hi, Diane.
Hi, thanks very much.
So where is this going to be held? Do you know?
Yes, but there's a lot of us, including you, who are on various Ukrainian hit lists. So people have to sign up and get tickets.
Oh, okay. So you want to keep
get the address.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That's what that's about.
Lower Manhattan. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
And who else is going to be on that bill?
Well, as you said yourself, Jose Vega, Scott Ritter, Dennis Fritz of the Eisenhower Media Group, who was at the Pentagon for 28 years, Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, who was Colin Powell's chief of staff. I believe we're going to have participation from some of the doctors who've just been in Gaza, actually, either by video or in person. I know some of them are coming. Helga Zepp-LaRouche will have a video, Ray McGovern by video. It's quite a few of retired military and intelligence, and I think, as Dennis Fritz had said on a call with me and Jose, he said, we really want you to use us. We want you to quote us. We want to give your campaigns authority to stop this war drive.
Okay, well, hopefully. So that's how.
And also Russ Dobular.
Russ Dobular from Due
Dissidence. Yes, how could I forget?
So that's quite a power-packed panel. Say that 3 times fast.
Hard pack panel.
Pick a pack of power pack panels. October, that's this Saturday. That's 2 p.m. New York City time, October 26th, this Saturday, Lower Manhattan. Go to VegasSarePeaceFund.org and get your tickets. All right.
Yeah.
How much are tickets?
$50.
Okay.
But people can give more if they want to. We need it. It's a joint campaign fund, so it helps us campaign. It also helps cover the cost of the event. And the funds are split 50-50 if people are wondering, unless you're violating your legal limit to one or the other.
Okay. All right. So tell me about your campaign. You were able to get on the ballot in New York when the Green Party wasn't. How'd you pull that off?
Well, I knew it was going to be very tough when I ran against Schumer. A lot of people told me I should just give up when we found out it was going to be 45,000 signatures and not 15,000 as it had been before. And I said, well, we're going to have to build a real network of actual real people in the real world. I had an advantage coming from working with LaRouche on 8 different presidential campaigns because we had a reservoir of people who had gotten him on the ballot 20 years earlier and remembered how nasty the state of New York is and all of the rules. And we had about 200 volunteers. Our campaigns, mine and Jose's, did not pay people to gather signatures. I found that to be a hazard. Every time you hire people, they seem to screw you over. And I know that happened to the Kennedy campaign. I think they ended up hiring a firm that was run by the DNC and fraudulently gathered petition signatures.
Right, so they could get him disqualified. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so they infiltrated his campaign, is what they did, and tried to screw him up from inside. That's
Yeah.
that's the playbook. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your big issue is what is your problem with war? War is a good makes money for people, jobs. The only thing we make in the United States are bombs and weapons, right? So what do you against? Are you against jobs?
And yeah, right. And frankly, we don't do them that well because I think it's demoralizing to just produce stuff that's going to kill people. It's not like trying to get a human being safely to the moon where you have a super duper high standard. When everything gets done for the sake of raising money or making money, I think our B-35 bombers, something like 18 of them crashed. So we're producing or got lost or had issues. We're producing a lot of stuff, and it's not very high quality, but it is killing a lot of people. And I think that's a bad thing. I don't think we should be killing people all over the world. And we seem to have equal opportunity killing. You know, some people say, oh, we're helping all those people overseas and we should be helping people at home. Well, we're killing people overseas and we're killing people at home, and it's not a good arrangement.
So, I mean, Putin invaded Ukraine, Diane. What are we supposed to do? Not give him $400 billion?
Yeah, right. Actually, I think we used his red lines as a roadmap for how to provoke him to invade Ukraine. And, you know, I did an interview 2 years ago with NPR out of Rochester. I just did it again this year. The host was vehemently pro-Ukrainian, anti-Russian. But 2 years ago, he said, I saw you did a Facebook post where you said Putin was not going to invade Ukraine, and then you deleted it. And I said, yeah, I guess I underestimated how badly we wanted that war. And then he just exploded. He said, how could you say that? Because what did Putin say in December of 2021? He said, Ukraine cannot join NATO. We can't have nuclear weapons on our border. And he said Russia will not tolerate ethnic cleansing of the Russian-speaking people in the Donbass. So then what do? We get the Azov battalion and all these Nazi-infested, right, to march right up to the border of the Donbass. And I kept wondering, how is it that Biden can say he's going to invade on this day? Remember that? He kept saying it's going to be February 22nd or he kept naming a date. And I thought, that's odd. How do we know that? Well, because that was the day that we started shelling Donetsk. I think we dropped, or NATO or whatever it is, dropped 1,600 shells on Donetsk in one day. And then Russia launched the special military operation. And then, as you know, what everyone leaves out is in less than a month, there were peace talks. And they were going to end the war, and they were going to end the fighting, and all these people would still be alive. And Boris Johnson flew over there and said, oh, no, don't stop fighting. Don't stop. We want you to die so we can destroy Russia.
So that was the miscalculation of the West, was that they thought that Russia was weaker than it ever was. In fact, Joe Biden joked about I think about 12 years ago, there was a video I just saw of him joking, saying, oh yeah, Russia's going to go try to get economic assistance from China. Go ahead. Why don't you try to go to Iran too? And he's making jokes about it. Well, that's exactly what has happened. So now China and Russia are closer than ever, which everyone has warned against that. Everyone's from Henry Kissinger to Noam Chomsky and everybody in between has said that would be the worst outcome for the United States. And that's exactly what the neocon and Joe Biden have done. All the stuff they claimed Donald Trump was going to do, they did. They made the world less safe. They warmongered. They pushed our allies away from us and closer to each other.
Right. I don't even think that's so bad. I mean, I don't think it's bad for China and Russia to get along with each other. They're two nuclear powers.
Right, I agree. Well, it's bad for the economic hitmen in the West, is that's what I mean. It's
right.
Which is what this war is all about. This war has always been about. They thought they were going to be able to balkanize Russia and chop it up and give it to BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, and that's what just like they're doing to Ukraine. By the way, 50% of its farmland has already been sold off. So that's the whole point. And so, how do you get through to people? What do you have a special trick? Because I can't. The people who they think they're informed because they read the New York Times and the Washington Post or the Boston Globe or because they watch CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, they think they're informed, and it's hard. I do it through humor on stage. How do you do it?
Well, humor is definitely important. I would say irony. And sometimes you just have to be able to laugh because the things people say are so patently absurd, like when we were trying to get signatures. And by the way, I found this time much harder to get the signatures because when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was running independent before he withdrew so that Kamala wouldn't win to endorse Trump, people, particularly in Manhattan, you'd get this hysterical, I can't sign for an independent because that means that Trump is going to, it was really bizarre. Or they were defending Biden and they'd say, well, the economy is so great. I mean, and literally there'd be a homeless person slumped over on the street by their feet. And they were telling you what wonders Biden has done for the economy. So when people are in that kind of deluded fantasy world, it is hard to get through. However, the other place we petitioned was in front of grocery stores. And of course, people are in sticker shock when they come out of the grocery store. They're saying, I used to get 5 bags of groceries for $200. Now I have this one little teensy bag. I had people tell me they could no longer afford to buy meat. People saying they had to exchange their prescription. They had to choose between food and their prescription medication. So people are feeling it. I think the worst thing is that they're very cynical and downtrodden and feel like the system is rigged and that they're not sure they have a voice.
And so that was pretty smart to go out in front of grocery stores. That's a good tactic there. And so how are you finding, are you getting a lot of support? How's it going?
It's really hard to tell. We get shadow banned. Jose's finding it too. He had a lot more followers on X than I did, but once he became a candidate, even though he would do these huge interventions and get a zillion new followers, somehow the total number wouldn't go up. And then I got a notice saying, would you like to follow Jose Vega? And I thought, well, I'm already following him. So I realized what they do is they get rid of your earlier followers. So you can never...
Yeah, just like YouTube. YouTube takes away our subscribers all the time.
Right.
So we can't grow like we're supposed to. And so that's a trick of social media is they take away your followers. And they also take away my likes. No matter what I post I like on Twitter, if I come back to it a day later, that like is gone. So,
yeah, I saw that. Colonel Wilkerson had done something on TikTok where he said every time he dealt with the Israeli military, they always lied.
Yes.
And I tried to hit the like button and it said, this action is not available or something. It's really, but I do want to say one thing, if you don't mind, because the Russians said something, and I think Americans would be really shocked. They said, we know that the Americans think that everything in the world revolves around who's going to be the next president of the United States. But actually, far more important than the U.S. election is the BRICS summit, which is happening October 22nd to 24th in Kazan, Russia. And I forget all the figures, but these nations, now that they have 4 more nations, they control something like 71% of the world's, I don't know if it's grain or oil or steel, but they have more than half the market on most of the major commodities that we need. And they're meeting, and I think that's one reason they want to blow up Iran. I think that's a reason why they want to really get Israel to start a war with Iran, because Iran is one of the new members of the BRICS.
That makes sense. Donald Trump actually said something sensible about Iran the other day. Did you see that?
What did he say?
He said that he said something like we can't. What did he say? Yeah, we can't even run our own country. We shouldn't try to run Iran, right? We shouldn't try to pick their. Yeah, it was something like that. I'd have to. I can't believe I didn't. Why? Yeah. Why am I not covering that? That should be covered today. What the hell? Yeah, Melga, when you get that ready, let's do that. That's something that's interesting. Let's do that. I don't know why I didn't cover that. Okay, well, Diane, yeah, people don't know about BRICS because they're not told about it in the United States. They're not. It's amazing. Americans are the most propagandized people in the world by far. At least people in China know they're being propagandized. People in America think they're getting the news. That's the difference.
Well, the BRICS is only about 2/3 of the world's population. Why would anybody want to know about what they're doing? I mean, they're not significant. India only has 1.4 billion people, China another 1.4 billion people. Why should we notice what they're doing? We have 4% of the world's population.
And 25% of the world's incarcerated population. So, well, I wish you luck. And I'll see you. I guess I'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, and I really want to encourage everybody out there to come join us. We're doing this because, I've been trying to figure out, most Americans don't want to be at war all the time. And frankly, in spite of the stupid propaganda, most Americans don't support genocide in Gaza. But the politicians seem not to be listening. So how do we break out? And there's going to be a huge amount of music. I direct a chorus. And I'm going to play the trombone at the beginning of the program, actually, a brass quintet and a string quartet. It's going to be, I think, very beautiful and very powerful, and people don't want to miss it.
Okay, I agree. All right, I'll see you there Saturday, Lower Manhattan. Yes. Go to vegasare.peacefund.org and support people who are fighting for peace. That sounds like a contradiction, right? Yeah, that's always been a pet issue of mine. The wars, our country's ending. We're an end-stage republic, and we're ending the way all empires end. We're overextending ourselves militarily while we let our own people starve. We have a hurricane here. Hey, here's $700, but you have to apply for it. And it's the craziest thing. And people defend it. It's to watch people who are voting for Democrats and voting for Kamala Harris do the mental gymnastics necessary they still feel like they're fighting some kind of moral war against MAGA and Donald Trump. Donald Trump is less of a monster than Joe Biden. And there's just no doubt about that. Joe Biden's been a monster his entire career. He's been anti-worker. He's been anti-everything. He's been pro-Wall Street, pro-war, and there isn't a war he didn't like.
Right. But now you have Dick Cheney.
Right.
Come on. Everybody loved Cheney.
Yeah.
I want him back in the White House. That's going to be great.
Yeah. It is really pathetic to see people who consider themselves, liberal, twist themselves in pretzels to vote for Kamala Harris because we're fighting MAGA. It's the most, it's the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. But there was Russiagate, there's Ukraine, there's COVID. There's a lot of dumb things people can embrace. But anyway, all right. Anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye, Diane?
No, thanks very much for having me. Everyone should come on Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you there and seeing everybody there.
Okay, see you then. All right, yep. Diane Sare, everybody, see you Saturday.
Jimmy.
Hey, so mainstream media is unreliable and dishonest, and that's why you watch the show, right? How can you trust them when they're never told the truth about anything like Russiagate or Julian Assange, Ukraine, Syria, COVID? That's where our sponsor, Ground News, comes in. Ground News is an app and a website that gathers related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare the coverage, kind of like how we do it on this show. Let's look closer at the coverage of President Trump's attempted assassination, for instance. Ground News gives me instant access to more than 700 articles reporting on it all over the world with context on each publication's political bias. Factuality based on how subjective or objective their language is, and even who's funding those people. Comparing the coverage is absolutely fascinating to me. Corporate-leaning USA Today and ABC News downplayed the shooting by writing that Trump was moved from stage after loud noises startled him and rang out in the crowd. The Irish Times went as far as to victim blaming, adding that the assassination attempt might even help him win the White House. Right-leaning outlets like the Daily Signal and New York Post were quick to call out liberal media's biased coverage, reporting that their bias was on full display. Unfortunately, moments like these can fuel the fires of misinformation, and very inaccurate narratives can spread like wildfire. The only way to combat this is to stay informed through really diverse news sources, something Ground News simply excels at. I mean, they even created a blind spot feed to expose what the other side of the political spectrum isn't reporting on, freeing readers of any hidden agendas and political spins. With media bias just running crazy like it is, I can't recommend subscribing to Ground News enough to stay fully informed on topics with explosive headlines. Just go to ground.news/JD. That's ground.news/JD with my link in the description, and they're going to give you 40% off their Advantage subscription, which will give you unlimited access to all their analysis and features. Ground News. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.